We are live. Oh my gosh, you guys, I am so excited. Yesterday we had the amazing Aspen Morrow certified brain health coach on. Holy cow, today we've got Dr. Cynthia Rene. So really quickly, I'm gonna go ahead and add her. Let's see here. Let me find you. Where are you on here? Cynthia Rene. Okay, Doc, I just invited you. As soon as you accept, then you're going to be on. Oh my gosh, Aspen, you're up. You're joining us. This is so cool. I feel like I need a little bit of light in here. It's a little dark. Good morning, everybody. This is going to be so much fun. I'm so excited. Had my bulletproof coffee. Now I'm being a good kid drinking my water. Oh, looks like we're about to jump on with yes. Yes. Okay, it says it's adding you. So Facebook Live and I have a love-hate relationship. So let's see if it works. Come on, you slower than Christmas thing. Oh. Okay, Cynthia, it said declined. I'm a little confused. So I'm going to add you again. Oh, wait, approve. I approved you. Okay, it says it's adding you, so I don't know if you need to click something on your end. We've done so many of these, you think we'd have it nailed by now, but we just don't. But it's all good. Okay.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah, good morning,
Sorry.
darling. We did
That
it.
was a moment that interrupted my mojo. We're good now, right? Okay.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. So, oh my gosh, you guys, I am over the moon excited. I'm still, Aspen's watching. I'm so sad that we didn't get to make ours work yesterday because then I didn't get to, talk you up and tell people how amazing you were. But I get to do that today with Dr. Cynthia Rene. So just really quickly, you guys, I know you've heard little bits and pieces, and I know that you've heard me say that, I give the doc a lot of credit for saving my life. So I want to give you a little bit of insight as to what that actually means. So I think I've told most of you, you've heard it in a video, or we've had coffee and I've shared the story. Last April, you guys, I was just done. I wasn't functioning. The world got me for maybe 1 hour a day. The rest of the time I was literally faking it. I was exhausted. I was crabby. My brain was foggy. I wasn't functioning at all. And a really, really sweet friend of mine by the name of Sandy Jones connected me to Dr. Cynthia. And I got to tell you, I mean, I get emotional. She's amazing. She brought me back to life. She is an amazing, amazing individual. She is so gifted. She is so talented. And I am so honored that she is going to be hanging out with us today. So, and I'm going to be really real. One of the things that we're talking about, and I know Cindy's going to elaborate on this today too, is self-care is not what we think it is. And just a little bit of a backstory, and you'll get a kick out of this. I get added, and you probably do too. I get added to more groups than I can shake a stick at. Yeah. Like, because I'm all about personal development and personal growth, which is a good thing, people just automatically stick me in their groups, which is fine because then I get to be the researcher. And some of them I participate in, but a lot of them I kind of research and I see what's missing, what they're doing well, what are some things I can use. I really have some fun with them. But part of the reason that this group exists is the fact that you can't log on to Facebook without being invited to or seeing advertisements or whatever for self-care, right? And So I've been added to a lot of them, and you guys, I even read an article by Mel Robbins, and people take what Mel Robbins says as gospel, and she's awesome. I love her. She's phenomenal. 5 second rule, amazing. But people are just missing the mark. They're missing the mark. They're talking about bubble baths and reading books and going out, for drinks with the girls and meditating, and all of that is good stuff, but it's surface stuff. It's not the deep stuff. And that's what Dr. Cynthia introduced me to, was the deep stuff, the kind of ugly stuff that I actually resisted when we first, our very first conversation. Her homework for me, because she's such an awesome coach, was 3 hours of self-care a day, and I looked at her like she was crazy. But I mean, seriously, seriously, I mean, where am I going to find 3 hours a day? And her response was brilliant. She said, "So what you're telling me is that you're productive your entire day, and you don't have 3 hours a day that you're just wasting because you're not functioning." Well, okay, I probably have 9 of those, so I think I can find 3 to do whatever it is you want me to do. She had me do an hour every day of my spiritual time, and I know she's going to talk a lot about that. She had me do 1 hour a day of physical activity, and that for me was baby steps. That was just walking on the treadmill, being active, because I'm sitting at a desk for a lot of time during the day. And then she gave me a long list of activities, different self-care modules, mind, body, and spirit, that were kind of tailored to me. And said, find another hour, no matter how you break it up. You can break it up into 15-minute segments, 30-minute segments, I don't care, but take another hour and choose some of these every single day. It was simpler than I thought. I'm not going to say easy, because easy requires little or no effort, and this took effort, but it was actually pretty simple. And I started to see results. A couple weeks. I was sleeping better. I had more energy. I started to feel a little bit more like myself again. And a lot of what she shared with me, she's going to be sharing today. So I'm just super excited. I'm going to let you take it away, Doc, and let you just be your brilliant self. I know that it's early. There's only a couple of us online, but if any others are joining us, I know I have a couple of people that said they were going to be jumping on 9:30ish, which is, right about now. As they have questions, I have our live running in the background over here, so I can see questions and feed them to you, so you don't have to try to juggle. Fair?
Great. Please just interrupt me, because I'm on my cell phone and I don't see them.
Exactly. I've got us on the cell phone, and I've got the feed on the laptop. So take it away, please.
Well, good morning, everyone. And Krista, we're going to be discussing that. I've got you on my cell phone and us on our laptop. Is that called multitasking? It's okay in this incident.
Occasionally, it's okay. I feel like I just got set up for something.
Yes, exactly. The video you shared yesterday, he was talking about them having their computer here and their cell phone here and all of that.
Oh my gosh, right? It was good stuff.
Right. Anyway, I will quit teasing you now. Krista, thank you.
It's what I live for. Tease away, my friend.
And I didn't do the work for her. She did the work for herself. And it became not about work. It became about indulging her needs and taking care of her needs. She is a rock star when it came to following through, doing the things that I ask. We tweak them to make it so that it's doable in her life, but she did the work. All I did was suggest and hold her hand. So in our busy lives, and we talked about bubble baths and massages and girl time and all of these things, watching a Hallmark movie I saw something about yesterday. Okay, these things are good and they can be included, but they really shouldn't be considered your self-care routine. And so really, to gain your health and your strength and to care for yourself, it goes much deeper and is much more involved than that. A big part of what I feel is self-care is your morning routine, and that's how you set the stage for that day. And so when you get up, Krista talked about, I asked her to do a little spiritual time, an hour. Some people have to reduce that to 30 minutes, but an hour is good. 1 hour is good. And you can do it. You can do anything for an hour. When you think about mind numbing, you can scroll through Facebook, you can do whatever, and all of a sudden an hour's gone, right? You can waste an hour easy, a TV show, whatever it is. So for spiritual practice ideas, that can be prayer, meditation, reading, uplifting material, a book, the Bible, but a book of someone that you respect, something that engages your brain. It can even be if your spiritual improvement is actually self-help. So maybe if it's reading an actual inspiration book, but one that's not geared at belittling you. Make sure that it's written from a positive perspective and uses positive words and not negative words. More do, go, be positive, uplifting, not, don't, you know, and hanging on the negative, because those words get implanted in your mind, irregardless whether they're trying to change them or not. They're still there, and those are not what your spiritual self-care morning time, your quiet time, is about. So, and as far as as far as those books go, even if they are a spiritual or uplifting, helping, self-help type book, and they are shoulding all over you, when you should all over yourself as it is, then it's not helping the situation, because those brain patterns get ingrained in your brain, and those words are detrimental to your health. So that first hour you block out, you take your spiritual time, and I call it a spiritual time because our spirits need nurtured as well, and we really neglect those. In my practice, I tell people it's all about a balance. And I used to think that it was all kind of an equal balance, but really it's not. Our spiritual life, whatever that looks like for you, is very important, because when things are off there, and that creates a lot of different types of self-talk or whatever that is, it spills into our self-worth and who we are. So whatever builds you up and gives you peace in the morning. Krista, what are some things that you have done in yours as an example?
Well, I love my bulletproof coffee. My morning routine, and this is something I love my bulletproof coffee. Some of the things that and I'm going to be talking about later is taking the ideas that you have and tweaking them to, you know, whether you're visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and also taking introversion and extroversion into consideration. But I'm really auditory. I'm very auditory. And one of the best questions you asked me when we started meeting was, how do you feel connected to God? Because that was one of my struggles. I was feeling really disconnected. And I love worship music. That's my favorite part of church. If the music doesn't work for me, I don't feel like I fit. So one of the things that you had me do was listen to at least 3 or 4 worship songs in the morning. So that's my morning routine is, after I get my coffee, and this is where I have my morning time, my little corner of my office. I plug in. I listen to 3, 4, 5. Just depends on the day. I listen to worship music. I occasionally journal. I have my devotional that I love, my Jesus Calling. So some mornings it's not every morning, but some mornings it's this. And sometimes it's just prayer and worship. I let it be what it needs to be. But there were 3 or 4 elements every morning just to get started that you had me build the habit. And that was listening to worship music, journaling, prayer, and silence.
Fantastic. Thank you. And that's where I want to take that, is to make your tea, your bulletproof coffee, preferably not coffee yet in the day, but if that's what you want,
not perfect.
You said it's bulletproof coffee, so that's good.
It is.
So whatever your warm drink is, if you want warm drink, I have a suggestion that's an awesome warm drink that you take a warm water and a raw honey and about an eighth to a fourth of a lemon, and you make that into a warm drink in the morning. That alkalizes your body and cleanses your organs. It's perfect after you've been sleeping to start your day and to help your healthy process. So as you start your day, and you listen to some music. Was it you, Krista, who, when you started your exercise portion, I'm jumping a little bit, but the Greatest Showman, no, was that the movie? The soundtrack from that. So you want to pick songs that, for the first portion, you really want to pick songs that put you in that frame of mind. So the Gregorian chants, classical music, whatever triggers that kind of relaxation spiritual response for you, because we're going to change. We talked about time blocking. So this block of hour is all about spiritual relaxation, quiet, because you have enough of get up, go, 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 hurry, 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 hurry. And so you're just making your adrenals very unhappy. You're making your nervous system unhappy, and you're not setting the tone for your day. In fact, right now, I'd like to do just a little tiny exercise. I'd like you all to just be aware of where your shoulders are at. Are they up here? Yep, put them down. Yours seem pretty good. Krista, yours look pretty good. So put them down. And then I want you to be aware of where you're breathing. Put your hand on your abdomen. Is the air going into your abdomen, or is it all right here?
No, mine's good.
Go, whoa, look at you. That's awesome. We are shallow breathers. And so I want to give you a couple breathing exercises that can also lead you into your spiritual time. So if you will inhale through your nose to the count of 4 and exhale through your mouth to the count of 5. So the point of that is inhaling shorter than your exhale to release and push all that air out stimulates the brain to go into a relaxation mode. And you're going to do that 3 to 5 times. So you'll start your day with a cup of warm something, coffee, tea, warm lemon honey water, whatever that is. And if you are auditory, then you're going to listen to some music. I think everyone benefits from music. It changes the brain patterns and waves, and depending on the type of music, it actually can connect the brain, left and right hemisphere, so that you actually learn better and are in that moment. Another thing that I like in your spiritual time is that you don't use electronics, because they are very stimulating. So if you have your book on your, I don't care, your phone, whatever, iPad, please try to have a hard copy and make it a no screen zone to guard that. So you get up, you find a comfy chair, and you have a place where you do this every morning, where you are it's just waiting for you. It's inviting. It's your garden. It's your place of peace and tranquility that no interruption can come in. So that's how I like to start the day. This is part of the morning routine, to get up gently. And I had a comment from a patient the other day, and I said, well, what time do you set your alarm? And he said, alarm. I don't do alarms. Think about the word alarm. So you might think about how you wake up, whether it's alarm, but set it on something that's nice and not jumps you out of bed. Have you ever seen a little baby when they get startled and their arms fly out? This is what you're doing every day with your alarm system. And then you set the snooze. Oh, that's another thing I want to talk about, self-care. Snooze. Snooze is the worst thing you can do as far as making yourself more tired. When that alarm goes off, you get up, because that 15 minutes is not doing anything but releasing more sleep chemicals, melatonin, et cetera, back into your body and making you groggy. So when your alarm goes off or when you wake up, get up. Don't go back to sleep unless you have, say 2 hours that you could go back to sleep. Then that's a different story. Then those chemicals can be absorbed. Okay, so the second part of a morning routine is to get your body moving. And I like to spend at least 15 minutes of that time in a stretching, because our spinal health is so important and our flexibility as we age, that it's crucial. If you watch people that are hunched over or they can't move, and the longevity of your body is dependent on how flexible you keep your spine. If you've ever seen a 100-year-old yogi, they can move and they can do things. So stretching is important. And just 15 minutes of a stretching that will stretch your spine especially, and loosen your limbs to, excuse me, so that they are not all jammed up. Also, that's good for the lymphatic system. So to start my stretching and to warm my body up and to transition from your spiritual quiet time to transition into your fitness time, your movement time, I always start by shaking my legs back and forth. So if you could see my knees, they're doing this to shake my whole body. This stimulates your lymphatic system, stimulates the blood flow, and reprograms the body to what you're going to do. Also, you never want to stretch a cold muscle. So it's important that when you transition, and especially getting out of bed, that you warm up the body by stimulating a lymphatic system, and also that you do dynamic stretching. So a dynamic stretch is a stretch that moves. So you're going to move instead of just holding. That's a static stretch. So does that make sense?
Yeah.
Static stretch, dynamic stretch. Okay. And so you want to start your morning routine with a dynamic stretch, and then you're going to end with a little bit of static stretch, because you'd never want to stretch a cold muscle. And I know that she mentioned rebounding yesterday. So I have a different reason for you to rebound. As I mentioned in our introduction, I talked about breast cancer being almost epidemic, and that is because of lymphatic congestion. Your heart has a pump. Your lymphatic system does not. Basically, one of the only ways to pump your lymphatic system and to move your lymphatic system is to jump on a rebounder. Or if you have a really good, well, I'm going to give you a couple other ways, but to jump on a rebounder. So ladies, if you will take your bra off, I know. And actually, if I could ask you to do it naked, that would be the best, but I don't think a lot of you are going to do that. So, but anyway, if you'll take your bra off and you get on your rebounder, and you're just going to do a therapeutic bounce. So you just are on your toes and you're just bouncing on that mini tramp, so that you are pumping that lymphatics through your system. Because otherwise you're going to become swampy, and that's when things grow. Candida, whatever, it just gets like the Dead Sea. Things grow when your lymphatic system is not working. Causes foggy brain. Can we do self-care? Can we be productive when we have a foggy brain?
No. No, not even a little bit. Not
Right.
even at all.
Right. There's no focus. We think a lot of things are wrong with us, and they really aren't. It's just a matter of self-care. Keeping our systems. We have come so far from where we used to be, where we were out chopping up, doing housework, working in the field, working in the garden, that we don't do that. We sit and our bodies become stagnant, and that's when things go wrong. So when you think about you're sitting stagnant and things are kind of growing, and then you feed yourself a diet of, I can't do this, I don't feel good, I don't look good, I'm not capable, whatever you feed yourself, the mean girl syndrome, don't do it. Because you are feeding those non-moving particles in your body a bunch of garbage, and that's what you're going to get in return from your body. So exercise can take on many forms for different people. Like Krista, she started on the treadmill. I think that's probably what she's still doing. A lot of people do treadmills, which is great. I suggest maybe a little incline after a while. If you have to start with 2 minutes at 2 miles an hour or 1.5 miles an hour, do it. If you have to take 10 steps, do it. sometimes it's good to have an accountability buddy. That really helps to keep you on track and accountable. Krista is amazing. She is self-driven. She didn't need that per se, but a lot of people do. So whether you have an accountability buddy that you can walk with, whether it's a dog that waits at the door for you, or a buddy that says, I want to go out and walk, or somebody that just says, hey, I'm doing my treadmill, are you doing yours, or whatever. I think it would be nice. I've heard of different support groups on Facebook that kind of help each other, accountability groups. So there's lots of those that you can join. Exercise, walking is probably the best exercise, but you do want to add some strength training. And people go, and women especially don't want to bulk up and et cetera, but it's so crucial, especially weight bearing, which is walking or running. If you have an elliptical, that is not weight bearing. And so it's important that if you're doing an elliptical that you do walk. So as far as strength training, this is something that I kind of preach. It's kind of my MO. I did a thing where, because a lot of people don't want to go spend time at the gym and they don't want to pump iron and et cetera, et cetera. So, and this is pretty easy. I suggest drinking close to a gallon of water a day. So, and as a reminder to do these, every time you go to the restroom, you do 10 to 25 squats and 10 to 25 push-ups. So that is building strength. Push-ups really work the whole body, and then squats working your lower body. And so it's accumulative. So each time you're doing those throughout the day, you are gaining strength, but yet you're not blocking out another time to go, lift dumbbells or whatever that is. And it's a reminder, because when you don't skip going to the bathroom, you have to go. So you just do these in the interim. Good job on the water. I'm proud of you, Krista. And so this is a good way to include strength training, and it will strengthen your bones. It helps with hormones, men with low testosterone, which is another epidemic. Strength training is one of the best natural ways to boost that testosterone. Okay, let's see. I think we've covered that block. Now, are there any questions yet, Krista?
No, Aspen and I are having a conversation. So she says, not very many people know this, but rebounding is the best strength training there is. It builds muscle from the inside out.
It's like laughing. It's good for your abdomen. Her rebounding with the actual jumping is great, and yes, it does. It builds a lot of muscle, but you still need that upper body, and you're still not. It's still not a weight bearing. So
can I get your opinion on something? How do you feel about like the resistance bands? Are those really good? Because I'm not, and my hubby and I have been talking about this. We want to, get a membership at the Y again and all these things, which is great, but I don't like the machines. But I have, like, what's it called? The body gym. So it's like the bar and it's the resistance band. So you can literally use it like machines. Is that something that's a good fit?
Yep. Yes.
Oh, cool. Because I can do it sitting here in my office.
Yeah. Yes. In fact, when I worked at the lab, I used to have some little plate weights, just the little light ones. And so I would just set them on my knees. And when I was sitting at my desk, I'll just do lifts, raising my knees and then raising my calf. And I did there are actual videos of actual office workouts that are
cool. I've seen some, but some of them honestly seem a little ridiculous. So.
Yeah, that's like, but no, you don't have to. Even just bum squeezes in your chair and release and up and release and up and release. And then just some leg lifts underneath. But yeah, like you said, the bands you can do in your chair, and they're great, and they're not as aggressive as, say, squats or push-ups. Although it is important, using your body weight for exercise is really one of the best things that you can do. Because I had a friend who did body weight exercise only, and they asked him, so do you work out? And he said, I lift my body weight several times. And so that's more than, you know, what that would be. Okay, so good exercises is walking. Yes, an elliptical is great, but you do want to include some walking. So if you maybe alternate days or whatever, and preferably if you can get outside to walk and get fresh air, that's the best. In fact, when you wake up in the morning and after you've done your spiritual time, if you can even stick your head outside and take 3 really deep breaths, and as you let them out, cough, that gets the phlegm and the stuff out of your lungs from your night's rest. Okay, now we're going to move on. I know we're going to work on that other hour, but I want to go into this selfish thing that I
I'm so excited about this. You don't even know.
And because people think that you're being selfish when you're taking care of yourself, but it's not. It is crucial because you can't help anybody else or anything else unless you are taking care of yourself. And I think that some of the perception is you're being selfish because you're going to take care of yourself, you're going to get your hair done, you're going to take a bubble bath. And those things are not selfish, but they can be construed as selfish. They cost money, they look yep, that word, whatever it is. Okay.
Frivolous?
Yeah, that's it.
Is that okay, frivolous.
Yeah. So
but they're not
selfish. In satisfying your body's needs, your emotional needs, and your spiritual needs. I don't mean by satisfying your cravings, your desires, or anything like that. I mean satisfying your deep hunger for the things that you truly need. So satisfying your nutritional needs through diet, healthy foods, as Aspen said, what God created. If it comes in a wrapper, it's not satisfying those nutritional needs. Okay, you have a cereal that's fortified and you have cells in your body, and those inorganic material that they're fortified with come in and they plug up the little fine hairs on those cells. And so they don't leave room for good nutrition to come in and nourish your body. The longer the shelf life, the shorter your life. So even if you've bought like, say a green pepper and ever grown one in your garden, you'll notice that the green pepper from the store will last a lot longer than the one your garden. And it's because what they've done is they've irradiated it and they've killed all the natural enzymes so that it'll last longer. And your body needs that nutrition and needs those natural enzymes. So satisfying your hunger, we are an overweight, obese, malnourished country as a whole because we don't nourish our bodies as fuel. We eat for pleasure, entertainment, social. We don't eat as fuel, and that's a huge part of self-care. Because when your body's crying out for nutrition, it can't function. It needs fuel. Just like your car won't run without gas, your body doesn't run without fuel. So that's one way of satisfying yourself, is paying attention to the nutrition that you put in. So then another part of that is satisfying our spiritual needs. So what are your spiritual needs? Do you need a connection, whether it's God or whatever, however you identify that? And then also a body of like-minded who have that same belief. That's very important of the community in our spiritual walk. And in our emotional satisfaction, it can be really tough when all these words are flying around as far as narcissist and codependent and et cetera, healthy emotions need fed. They need to be nourished and they need to be satisfied. Women need to be physically hugged. They need to be loved. They need to feel those things. And so when it's not healthy, that's when it becomes unhealthy and what it's not supposed to be. The next one is empower you. So empowering yourself sometimes can look like saying no, or yeah, a lot of times it looks like saying no. We think that by saying yes, 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 I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this, we only have so much energy. In fact, in a mastermind, I had a gal talk about how she wasn't that she didn't have enough time, it was that she didn't have enough energy.
Yeah.
We all have 24 hours, but we all only have so much yes.
That's me right there. That's, if I had the energy, I would just forego sleep and go, 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 go. But I just can't.
Right. We're not wired to. We need that rest. But yes, and you're right. And that's where Aspen talked about brains love to play. And but we need to say no, and we need to say no to ourselves. When we find ourselves saying yes, 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 whatever that is, we need to, and part of saying no is boundaries. Part of self-care is boundaries as you're growing up. How about love you? Do you love yourself? Do you allow yourself to talk to yourself the way you would anybody else? Do you love yourself enough to do affirmations? Do you love who you are? Do you enjoy spending time with yourself? So many of us can't stand to be alone or spend quiet time because we're with ourselves. So do you love yourself? Do you look in the mirror? Do you belittle yourself? Or do you love yourself? So that's very important. And finding yourself. Go back to when you were a child, and what was the first thing you wanted to do? Did you want to be a princess? Did you want to be a warrior? Did you want to be a cowboy? What was it? What is your true identity? What is your core message? Be true to who you are. Are you living a life that somebody told you should live? Are you being what society expects you to be, or are you finding who you are? Finding who you are and living your true life is so important. I say it's like if we're living in an identity that was given to us from the time we were little, and it's like taking a pet and rubbing them backwards all the time and never
that is
letting them.
really a good way to put it.
Yeah. And that's how we feel. We kind of, we're not comfortable on our own skin. It doesn't feel quite right. And so finding you and what is, and that's how these self-care programs work. You put together what works for you. Don't let me or anybody else should on what you should do. And ignite you. What sets your soul on fire? What self-care is about passion. It's about passion and what gets you going. When what we're doing is drudgery, then we don't want to show up. But ignite yourself. So I like to take, one of my 10-minute blocks of that hour at least. Well, actually mine turns into most of the morning. I have my whiteboards behind me and I stand up and I drill down and I'm writing whatever comes out. And if you can do this drill for 10 minutes to ignite your passion, find out what sets your soul on fire, it will help rejuvenate everything that you are, everything that you have. I don't care if you're going to work from 9 to 5 and it's mind numbing and you're creative. Get it out. Because when it builds up, just like in your lymphatic system, it's going to spill out somewhere. And probably in unhealthy ways. But when you're writing and you're just rejuvenating, it's like my hair's on fire. I'm walking around the living room and it's passion that comes out. And that's when you help somebody or you change the world. The world's waiting for what ignites you.
If I can tag onto that.
Heck yeah.
Whether and writing is absolutely phenomenal, but one of the things that I found that worked for me, because you and I have had this conversation, And I think in part it's because I am so auditory. Um, is for me, instead of writing, not that I don't love to write, because I do,
Sure.
I speak. I speak. So
Fantastic.
for me, it's I will the greatest invention known to man is the Bluetooth in the car. Because now when I'm having majorly intense conversations with myself, people think I'm on the phone and they don't think I'm crazy.
Yay. Awesome.
But yeah,
And that's
so
it. That is
I totally agree. It's getting it out. It's getting that dump, and I love this because you are setting me up so awesome for what we're going to be talking about this afternoon with personality. So yes, I totally agree. And whether it's writing, whether it's speaking, whether and whether or it's a combination of both. Because I have days where I dive down into the journal. So
yeah, yeah. And that's another thing that's important. If you wake up in the middle of the night, write it down, get it out, and then you'll be able to go back to sleep, because otherwise it's just going to tumble, 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 tumble. So get it out. Yeah.
agreed.
And
I've always kept something next to my bed that I can write stuff down.
good job. Good job. See, you're so good at this. Another thing people
Pride
express
myself on being a
themselves.
good student.
Yes. Another thing people express themselves in movement. If you, another form of self-care would be to dance. You know, just let yourself go. Turn on that music and just let your body move. That is an extremely good expression. It's a good exercise. It's good on so many levels. Okay, my next one is serve you. So how do you serve yourself? Do you serve others? Do you make sure your family has dinner? Do you write little notes to them if you're getting ready to leave? Do you do thank you cards? Do you do their laundry? How do you serve others? What does serving look like to you? But we need to serve ourselves. And so in serving ourselves, that might be making that special meal, buying ourselves maybe that flower, using the china, wear the dress, wear the shoes, whatever serving you looks like. When we depend on someone else for our needs and to serve us, that's when we get in trouble, because we are responsible for our own joy and happiness, other than, of course, God, where our true joy comes from. But at the same time, it's when we look outside for happiness and to be served that we lose ourselves. We need to serve ourselves. How are we doing on time?
We're doing, you are like psychic, because I just was like, how are we doing on time? It's like 10:10. We're awesome. We're like 20 minutes.
Okay, perfect.
I listen to you all day, but I have a speaking gig at noon, so I can't. But I would listen to
I
you
got to
all
get
day.
on the road. Plus, I don't want to bore people to death. How about honoring you? Would you, well, we'll go back to that talking, that self-talk. Would you let someone talk to you the way you talk to you? Or would you let someone talk to your child or your sister or your mother the way you talk to you? Words have power, and they can bring you down. They've done research with plants. They've done research with everything. They actually have power. And honoring yourself by knowing your limits, honoring yourself by choosing to wear what you're going to wear. If you're self-employed, sometimes you need to get up and get dressed and put on your makeup and do the things that you're doing, and not sit there in your pajamas just because you can. Sure, sometimes that's great. But as the days go on, it's going to accumulate and it's going to put you down in the dumps. Besides that, is your energy more when you're up and dressed up and you feel like you've got something to do? But honor yourself. Put a bubble that shields those things. I want to talk to you just a minute about honoring yourself. Before you leave in the morning, it's like putting on your armor. When you do your spiritual time and you do your exercise and you're ready, it's like putting on your armor. I have some friends, and they have a really neat sword, and they have their kids' pictures, and they have remember who you are right at their door. And I love that, so that every morning before their children leave that house, they know who they are. They have that armor that they put on. And when we put on our armor of taking care of ourselves before we go out into the world, and it beats us up and it tells us we're not who we are, and it starts to weigh us down and weigh us down and weigh us down, it's a rejuvenation. And we're in this together. So it's so important that we take care of ourselves so that we can help take care of each other. We're not in it alone. So create community. That's another important thing that I was going to say. It's up here, is your community is important. I've heard it said that you are the, the sum of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. But that doesn't necessarily have to be physical. Mm-hmm. That can be the books that you read. You can be the 5 sums of what Einstein, Freud, whoever, whatever, because those are the 5 people that you spend the most time with. So now that's going to lead me into, Krista, did you want me to cover anything else on self-care before I go into the electronic addiction? I have so much to cover. I over-prepared. I was so afraid.
Here's the thing. I would have had you on every single stinking day. Oh my gosh. Here's one thing that I do want everybody that's watching to do is, and it's morning, and I know that most people are at work, so you guys are going to be watching this in the evening. That's totally fine. I would love for everybody to post which one of those really jumped out at you of the selfish acronym, which one of those really jumped out, and the one area that you're going to make sure and focus on. Yes, you want to focus on all of it, but one of the best things that Dr. Cynthia helped me with, because I am a go big or go home person, was baby steps. And baby steps, the stories you could tell on me.
Yeah.
It's so many of us, but I mean, that's our mentality. It's our mentality, especially those of us that we're business professionals, business owners, we go big or go home. And right. When it comes to our self-care, sometimes we just have to do the baby steps, because in the baby steps lies the consistency and the discipline. And it's something I preach to my clients all the time in the areas that we're working on. It's something that Dr. Cynthia shared with me time and time and time again, because I can say I'm an excellent student, but I'm not. I'm probably her most frustrating, but that's okay. She still just keeps loving me.
Absolutely. That is so not true. You are so wrong. Oh, wait, I didn't say that. I'm sorry. That was not positive. You are brilliant. And you are brilliant. That's the right proper thing to say.
You make my heart smile. Yes, I just love you.
If you take 5 minutes of self-care, 5 minutes to do something that satisfies you, empowers you, loves you, finds you, ignites you, serves you, or honors you. 5 minutes. That's it. If that's all you can start with, do it.
It's all about those baby steps. They matter. They really do. They add up. I mean, that's my morning routine before everything kind of bottomed out for me and you came to my rescue. It took me, once I finally wrapped my head around this idea of baby steps, it took me about 6 months to where I built my morning routine up to where it was a consistent 20 to 40 minutes. But here's one thing I know to be true is that, man, when life hits and when we stop taking care of ourselves, we baby step the wrong way. It's, I'll just go to the gym once this week, and then you stop going to the gym, and then it's, I'll just eat out one time this week, and then you're living at the drive-in, and then and before you know it, everything's in the toilet. It affects your brain, mind, body, and soul. It affects all areas of your life. If you don't honor one, you might as well just not honor any of them, because they're all connected. And then you find yourself, kind of face down in a gutter where I was, about a year ago, before you and I had the opportunity to start working together. So, I totally agree. So that's the one thing I really do want everybody to post, at least one thing that really jumped out to them, that they want to be able to focus on. And we have so many more topics we're going to be covering. I'm really hoping there might be another opportunity for me to get Dr. Cynthia on again. Would love to have Aspen on again. And I haven't said anything to either one of them, but I have these wheels in my brain that are turning about a larger group launching maybe the beginning of the year that we could collaborate on.
but that's a conversation for later now that I put it out there.
Fantastic.
So with that, yeah, I know. Here's what I love. Here's one of the other things I love about you is I'm like, so here I'm thinking about doing this thing, and you're like, I'm in.
Do it.
It doesn't even matter what it is, but she does. But if anything that she ever wanted, I wouldn't even bat an eyelash. I'm like, I'm in, sister. What do you need? So, so with that, yes, you've got a whole list of stuff. So please feel free to switch topics, and you guys, those of you that are watching it on the replay, hashtag replay, so I can easily grab those comments, those threads, and so can Dr. Cynthia, and post your questions, no matter what they are. If they have to do with the topic we're talking about, if they have to do with anything remotely related to the topic we're talking about, please, please, please.
Okay, so real quick, I would like you, all those words that I posted, all those words that I posted, all those little handouts, if you have questions, if you want more information on any one of those words, please post it and I will answer it to the group. If you want more information or links or whatever to anything that I've talked about, please put it in the group. And if you didn't understand something or you whatever, post it in the group. But any of those words.
Thank
okay,
you.
let's
and
talk about
sorry, my
electronics.
phone kept trying to take a phone call and I kept trying to ignore it and it wouldn't let me do it. It's like, stop it. Stop pausing the video. Stop pausing the video. So yes, thank you. That's exactly what I wanted to share. So thank you for that. So with that, yes, switch gears. It's all yours.
Okay, so just really quick, because I don't want to, I didn't bring my soapbox and I don't want to get on one. So what I want to do is I want to talk about electronics and blue screen and screen time and how that affects you. Self-care is shutting that thing off, putting it in the other room. Do not sleep with your phone in your room. No, try not to have screens in your room. That's very important. Yesterday, some of you saw that video, but the screens, the computers, all of our electronics affect us on all three levels. They affect us emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Physically, the waves, we are electrical beings. There's just no getting around that. And we are electrical. These electrical devices with their modems and all the information that goes through runs through our bodies and creates havoc on our parasympathetic nervous system. So unplug your modem at night, get away from that. It affects your eyes. It affects your circadian rhythm. Your circadian rhythm is what makes you sleep and wake up, and it's the function of the body. So when you have a blue screen, artificial light is bad enough, but when you have a blue screen in your face and then you put it down and want to roll over and go to bed, your body's saying, no, I have light, I want to stay awake. Not to mention the stimulation. The stimulation to your brain is, it never shuts off. And that's why we can't stand to be alone. That's why we can't stand to have quiet, because we are addicts of that outside stimulation. And that is what is so hard on our parasympathetic nervous system, our adrenals, our electrical system. It's horrible. Whoops, bad words. So
but they're honest. It is.
It is. You just need to shut them off. And then emotionally, he talked about that a little bit yesterday, the connections. I have the saddest story in the world. I was waiting for some company to come over on Christmas Eve, and so my daughter and I, while we were waiting, got everything ready, and we went to grab a quick bite at an Asian restaurant. We were sitting there, eating dinner, and a family of four came in, and there were four of them. They literally, between the four of them, did not say two, maybe three words between the group. They were all on the phone the whole time, and the mom was the worst. Christmas Eve, and these people were not communicating with each other. How sad is that?
That's not okay. So just to clarify, for those of you, the video that Dr. Cynthia is talking about is the Simon Sinek video that I posted about tech addiction and what it's doing to the human race. I will jump on my Facebook personal page and I'll share it into the group so everybody can watch that video so they're caught up with what we're talking about, because it is a big deal. It's a big deal. And I am the first one to say I have a tech addiction.
I know that I do because it sneaks
Yeah.
up on us. We don't even see it coming.
Oh, you don't? You don't. It's like I said, you don't have an hour? Well, how long did you scroll through Facebook this morning? Or how long? Check your phone. Now they have a thing where you can check how long you were social throughout the day. How long did you waste? 3.5, 4 hours scrolling, checking, making sure somebody didn't text you back? Even though some of us have alerts on our phone when we get a message, we still check it. The average person checks it every 20 seconds, at least. When you are working and you have momentum going and you are distracted with that, it's horrible. Okay, now the emotional side of this. We see people's fluff. We see their best face. We see a make-believe world where they may have been 5 minutes ago fighting, whatever they were doing, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh yay, we're having a selfie, or oh look at this. But you didn't see the stress that was behind that scene, the everyday life that was going on before that happened, before that picture was snapped, or that 2-minute, Facebook Live. Those are not real. But then we also are bombarded with ugliness. We have bullying, cyberbullying. We have just nightmares, the words that are put out there. Unfriend those people, or at least if you don't unfriend them, unfollow them to where their posts are not showing up. And I actually had a patient who she was involved with a group, and they were on Facebook, and they were always doing things, and they were always going places, and it hurt her because she wasn't able to keep up. And those images really aren't telling the whole story. And when we think, oh, I'm not as good as that, I can't do that, or I don't have the money to go do those things that they're doing. Well, you don't know. Maybe their credit card's at $23,000 and it's maxed out to the max, and they're scrimping by to make the payment. So don't compare yourself on this addiction. This addiction keeps your brain on high. It releases endorphins. It creates that bond. It is above sugar in addiction. Sugar is as addictive as heroin, but this stimulation, it also, your body, your mind doesn't know when you're watching a movie, when you're watching something on Facebook, it doesn't know whether it's real or whether it's fake. So when we constantly numb our senses with this fake information, we are creating brain patterns that have to be changed. These young children that are watching movies, playing on electronics from the time they're so little, their eyes and this constant stimulation is keeping them so high and so wound up. And then teachers are saying, you can't sit still. Well, no, they can't sit still. So if you want more information on that, I'd be happy to send you how it affects your electrical system, your parasympathetic nervous system, all of that. There is such a problem with it that, if you forget your phone, do you ever go back for it, or do you ever just leave it? Have you ever left your phone at home and feel like something's missing? It's not part of your body, but it is. And that constant checking, you post something on Facebook and then you want to see if somebody liked it or somebody responded or whatever. That's what it's designed to do. And so sometimes you need to take a break because you need to break that addiction. Take 21 days, check off of Facebook. 21 days. Your phone, you only allow certain hours to use your phone. When I grew up, we survived without phones. We drove, we went places, we did all kinds of things, and we did survive without having a phone attached to us. So,
one of the things, can I tag on to that, please?
Oh, well, always.
One of the things, because so many of us, you included, we use social media for our businesses. And so one of the tools that's really been helpful to me that I'm going to be honest and transparent and say I haven't been doing it, but I just watching that Simon Sinek video, it really called me out.
Yeah.
And when we get in that space of, because getting to work with you, I mean, things were so, the changes that I experienced were so powerful and they were so amazing, and it led to other things. And I mean, I was really, really doing well. And I actually, I was working with my coach yesterday, and I was kind of talking to her about just some frustrations and some things that were kind of going on in my head. And I love when you get to partner with somebody who just asks the right questions. And she asked me a question, and immediately I got emotional, and I said, this self-care group is for me. This group is for me. I mean, it's for all of us, but I needed to be called on the carpet about a lot of things because I haven't been doing the things that I know that I need to do. And it's that one little thing, one little thing, one little thing. And tech, when you get in that space, when you allow yourself to get in the headspace where you're not doing the things that you know that you need to do, the brain wants to escape.
Yes.
And yeah, and Hallmark movies, I love them, but it's so easy to just check out mentally and sit there and watch, other people living life when you're not.
Right.
It's easy to just find yourself randomly scrolling through Facebook, like you're not even looking at it, you're just doing it. And so,
Habit.
yeah, it becomes a habit. And so for those of us, one of the activities that I've had clients do, that I've done, that I'm committed, I'm going to start doing it again today, is when I am on social media, make sure, number one, it's for my business, and I set my timer for 15 minutes. So I'll set my phone for 15 minutes, and that's what I'll do. Also, what works for me is I really try, and I recommend this depending upon how you're wired, this may work really well for you. I really, really, really try to not do social media on my phone. I sit at my laptop, because then I feel like I'm at work. And yes, there's tons of great stuff on social media. I mean, I've got 8 grandkids and they're blowing up my Facebook page, and I want to get on there and talk with my kiddos, and that's one thing. But to sit at my desk, have my computer in front of me and do my social media that way works out really well. Another thing that I would recommend, I've done this, so whether it's LinkedIn or Facebook, which are the 2 social media outlets that I'm using for my business currently, every single day I have a quote, I have something that people can engage with. I don't do that. I don't. I hired somebody. They do all of my static social media so that I don't have to, and then I can just plug in for 10 or 15 minutes and engage and then step out. So there are ways, I know so many, I just know there's somebody on here going, well, I can't not be on social media. I get it, but there's a way to create an environment that allows you to make it feel like work, or to where you're not, the random scrolling person.
Right. And it's a boundary issue with social media.
Yeah, I agree.
You set a time. This is the time I can do this, so that it's not controlling your life. Because would you give anybody else that much control over your life that you do social media? Or your phone? No. We become a slave to it. And it does some permanent damage that can be really overboard. So on that ray of sunshine note, I would like to end with some herbs that I think that every woman especially should take. I just want to give you some herbs. In the wintertime, elderberry is fantabulous for your immune system. Red raspberry. Every woman should be doing red raspberry. It firms, tones, good for all of the female, all of that. Has full of vitamins, minerals, healthy for your structure, all of that. Red clover. That's a great one for women and for men as well. Nettle. Nettle is so nutritious and so good for you. It helps even with allergies. It's fantastic. It dries mucus. I'll just leave you with those because those are some really good standards. If you have questions about any of this, or if you have specific questions, you can reach out to me and I can help talk you through some kind of a self-care program. I can help work through your program and what works for you, how to tweak it, and what will, how to become selfish in a way that is productive in this society. Oh, one more thing about social media. And I talked about earlier about narcissist and codependent. we become narcissists on Facebook when we are checking to see if people approve of this. It's also codependent on social media and the responses.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I have enjoyed it. I love sharing with Krista, and I love sharing my knowledge, and any way that I can help people become better and feel good. It makes me so sad when I see people walking around when I know that just a little bit of tweak in their lifestyle, and they can be who they're supposed to be and have so much potential, live their potential.
Awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us this morning. You guys, I'm serious. When I woke up, God talks to me first thing in the morning, because then I'm not awake enough to analyze what he says. So I'm not kidding you. I woke up one morning a few weeks ago, like 3 weeks ago or something. I woke up and the first thought in my head was, you're going to have a self-care group. Yeah, okay. The next morning I woke up and you're going to reach out to Dr. Cynthia and Aspen, and they're going to do it with you. And okay, and both, I'm telling you, both of them were like, whatever you want to do, honey, I'm in, let's do this. This is going to be fun. So here's the thing, please reach out. For those of you, you may have a question that you don't really want to ask in the group, and that's okay. Reach out to either one of them. If you have a question for Aspen, if you have a question for Dr. Cynthia, private message them. Make sure, friend request them on Facebook, get connected. I know both of them do, they do consults and all kinds of great stuff, and I'm super excited to have them both in my life, and we're going to be seeing more of them. I think we're going to be doing a late afternoon Friday Q&A. I think we're doing like a 3:30 Friday Q&A Mountain Time, and you guys are going to see me later this afternoon. I'm actually going to bring up my my PowerPoint. We're going to walk through your ideal personality. I wanted to keep it short, sweet, and simple, and everybody was messaging me going, that's not enough, more. It's like, okay, I'll do the full 20-minute, walk you through it, whole 9 yards. So that'll be super fun. I know that, and then tomorrow morning I'm going to be on tomorrow morning talking a lot more time management. So how to take all of these ideas that we've gotten from Aspen, that we've gotten from Dr. Cynthia, and answer the question, okay, well, that's great. Now when do I do all this? So we're going to talk time management, time blocking, things along those lines, baby steps, creating the buffers on your day, morning routine and evening routine. There's something really powerful in small pockets of discipline. We're going to be talking about that tomorrow morning. And I have other ideas in my head that I got to run by you ladies. And then of course, Friday, we're going to be wrapping it all up, but the group's going to stay live. So if you guys are hearing anything that you think, oh my gosh, my mom needs to know this, my sister needs to know this, my girlfriend needs to know this, my brother needs to know this, we do have guys in the group. Please don't hesitate. I'm posting every single day, including the link, that it's not too late. I'm going to leave this group open. I've officially decided December 31st. So this group is going to be open and available to everybody through the end of the year, so that you can still engage and ask questions and stay connected, be able to reach out and watch the videos and do whatever it is that you need to do before we switch gears. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to have a bigger group, or something's going to be launching in January. I don't know what it is yet, but it's going to be fun. So you guys, thanks for tuning in today. Appreciate your time. Thank you, Dr. Cynthia. Yes.
Sorry. Don't
apologize. It's all yours.
I do a morning inspiration. It is, I take photography, and I have a professional camera, and so I go out in nature and I take photography, and I do a morning inspiration that God gives me each morning, that I write on the photography, on the picture. I think I posted a rose. And so if you want signed up for that morning inspiration to start your day, shoot me your email on the group, or PM me, whatever that means. I'm old technology, but anyway, and let me know, and I'll get you signed up for the morning inspiration, whether you just want the picture or whether you want the full inspiration. This spring, I'm going to start an actual outdoor self-care group that we will meet, and we will go into nature and really just spend some time healing in self-care. Anyway, sorry. Thank you.
Why are you apologizing? I'm in. Sign me up. Tell me what I need to do.
Yay!
Yay! Okay, awesome. So you guys, again, thank you. Dr. Cynthia, for taking the time, sharing your vast knowledge, and you guys, you barely scratched the surface. The stuff this woman knows will blow your mind. So thank you, and I'll see you guys later this afternoon in here. Again, post below your one takeaway, your one baby step that you're going to be implementing, and you guys go have a great, blessed day, and I'll see you later this afternoon. Thanks. Bye.
Bye.